What's up, YouTube? This is Fortress Striker. Today is a day where 10 years ago we lost the legendary Eddie Guerrero. 10 years ago, Eddie Guerrero passed away mysteriously, I guess, upon either a pills or anything. Nobody knows some circumstances of what happened. I guess there was some things going on. Maybe there is. Because maybe sometimes people say pills. The thing about Eddie Guerrero, he was such an addict back in the day, but there was a lot of details he had in his life that weren't as positive as it is. But in this video, we're not going to really going to talk negatives because actually this is going to be an honorable thing about Eddie Guerrero. Now, Eddie Guerrero was one of the best wrestlers out there of today. Basically, being the youngest out of his father, Guerrero. Being the youngest out of his brothers who basically did professional wrestling, who they were Mondo, Hector, and Chavo Sr. Basically, later on, Eddie just decided to join as well later on, and then a couple years later, his little nephew, Chavo Jr., got to join. Eddie Guerrero was one of the most awesomest, talented wrestlers of all time. He even did a lot of wrestling moves back in Mexico, back in his hometown in El Paso, where his father used to do the wrestling business. Even was a kid to join with Chavo to do a lot of things just for fun. He even did wrestling around Japan. Went through a lot of things in his career he was very proud of. Especially when back in Mexico, he basically did a lot of lucha libre. He did things with his former tag team partner, the late Armbar, who made the frog splash in honor of him. So Eddie does a tribute to the moves now to his old friend Armbar. Eddie Guerrero also did a lot of wrestling in Mexico, but the one thing he did that no one ever suspected to do is that he took off his own mask on his own term, not from Lost, did it on his own because he didn't really care for the honor of it. He did what he actually did. Even went to the New Japan, did a lot of wrestlings with Jushin Liger, Chris Benoit. When he under a new name, I believe was I can't remember, it was like Black Master or anything. I don't know. Later on, Eddie Guerrero went to the States, and then afterwards, after losing his friend Armbar, he later on got a call from Paul Heyman, went to ECW, and became one of those most unbelievable wrestlers. That it wasn't just about extreme wrestling; it was also about talented professional wrestling that people even were stunned, especially with his classic moments with his best friend Dean Malenko. Now, him and Dean have always been making wrestling in ECW so much they've been getting multiple draws, fight over the TV championship. Their legacy was incredible, and their last match was by far a best 2 out of 3 falls that ended, of course, in another draw to prove that both men were the best out of each other, and it could have been better. Later on, they got the call to WCW, and as they went to the WCW, they made a name for themselves in the Cruiserweight division. Eddie Guerrero has topped in as Cruiserweight champion, U.S. champion. He had a great moments with Chris Jericho, again, Dean Malenko. His most awesome moments with Rey Mysterio Jr., which their famous match was in Halloween Havoc 97, I believe. It was one of the most classic matches to watch. Believe me, it's by far. Eddie Guerrero's made a name himself in the Cruiserweight division. Afterwards, a lot of things have been going on for Eddie Guerrero. He had a lot of pills problems after an accident. He couldn't feel well. He felt so addicted that he also drank alcohol. He felt uneased. He wasn't the man that people thought he was. He was somebody else, a monster. It was sad to see. But then Eddie Guerrero still tried to fix it. He later on after WCW was kind of a pain. He with Benoit, Malenko, and Saturn left to WWF, and on January 31st, 2000, they actually got to be in the ring with them. Talked to Mick Foley, did everything. Eddie Guerrero was actually a cool guy. That's when the debut of Latino Heat came out with him in China. Unfortunately, at the time, as well as I said, he had addiction. There was a lot of problems, and around 2001, he got let go. It was very tough. Eddie Guerrero later on went to the Independent. He did his matches at Ring of Honor for a short while, and then he got called for WWE after he got way better. Vince gave him a second chance. Then later on, Eddie Guerrero made his return, and then he had a match with RVD for the Intercontinental Championship Backlash, and it was actually stupendous. Actually, you gotta enjoy it. Eddie Guerrero later on now got better. He took care of his body. He's clean. He does not want to deal with his addictions anymore. He now became Intercontinental Champion. He became WWE Tag Champion with his nephew Chavo. He's also been a former European champ, by the way, hasn't mentioned yet. He had great matches, of course, with Rey Mysterio once again, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, World's Greatest Tag Team, John Cena for like a short while. JBL, his career went through the roof, and then later on in 2004, February, he defeated Brock Lesnar and became WWE Champion. It was one of the greatest moments ever in his career. People were proud of him. It was an awesome moment. And then 1 month later, his friend Chris Benoit won the world title, and you see both of them as both WWE Champion and World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania 20. By far, it was one of the greatest moments that we have these two great heavyweight champions. I still believe that to this day, and it's still never going to change no matter what happens. Eddie Guerrero later on, kind of like, 1 year later, then had his moments with Rey Mysterio, all the matches he had, turned into a major heel, got a lot of heat, so much, and then later on fought Batista, then he turned face. His last match ended up with Mr. Kennedy, won, of course, Lion Chain Steel, and a winner gets to go join Team SmackDown, and then, of course, later on a Sunday of or Saturday, a weekend of November 13th, which is his day, Eddie Guerrero was passed away. A lot of wrestlers were called about this. A lot of them were sad to see this legend gone. Eddie Guerrero was one of the greatest men ever. He put entertainment to everything. He put his body on the line so he can prove to be doing way better than he did last time. He wanted to make it better and better and better. One of the greatest high-flying technical wrestlers of all time. Nobody could just stop that, because there will be no other Eddie Guerrero. He was the best as he was, and the best he was always be. He was one of the greatest, and wow, seeing him gone was one of the saddest moments ever. But in the end, in honor of Eddie Guerrero, months later, he was inducted to the 2006 Hall of Fame. I know it's a little short, but Eddie Guerrero did a lot of things he has accomplished. He could do more, but as we know, his passing was just sudden. It was so sad, and people couldn't take it in. And Eddie Guerrero today I'm going to be watching the DVD of the tribute where on Monday Night Raw, where they tribute Eddie Guerrero. One of the saddest moments, man. Yeah. It's very hard to see a legend gone, but in honor of Eddie Guerrero, I'll be playing his music. Viva la raza! So anyway, guys, that's it for the video. This were my thoughts about Eddie Guerrero, one of the greatest of all time. I miss him. You miss him. He was the best. So Eddie, God bless you. Thank you so much for all the entertainment, man. You're the man. And to this very day, you still is. I hope you rest in peace, and I hope you be with your father and be with everyone else you're doing it on. Especially your friend Benoit, who misses you a lot. So anyway, guys, give this video a like for Eddie Guerrero. Comment what was your favorite moments about Eddie Guerrero. Share this to your friends, because Eddie Guerrero. Subscribe if you're new. Like my Facebook page. And this is Fortress Trader saying, lie, cheat, and steal for Eddie. Viva la raza!